Father's Day is coming up. It's Father's Day weekend. And I've thought a long time about doing an episode about my dad. And I just never really knew if I was ready to do it. And maybe I'm still not completely ready, but I do think it's time.
You're listening to the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. Ryan Hamilton is a real estate agent with Good Oak Real Estate and the heart behind the I Do Guru, helping people build strong foundations, both in their homes and in their marriages. Let's get into it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. I, of course, Ryan Hamilton, local real estate agent in the Phoenix and Tucson areas and wedding officiant with the I Do Guru, amongst other things. Today's episode is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little personal. But before we get to it, in honor of Father's Day weekend, got to do the dad joke. What did the grape say to his dad when he woke up on Father's Day? He said, "Thanks for raising me right, Dad." All right, I've got a thing for grapes and raisin jokes or whatever. But okay. So, as I said in the open, thought a long time about doing an episode about my dad. Didn't know if I was ready and probably not still ready, but I do think it's time to have a conversation about it. So, my dad died in 2013. He was on a Jeep run north of Tucson with one of his friends. It's a trail, carpet alley is what they call it, the locals. Trail they had driven hundreds of times before. A road I've driven in the Jeep, and I sucked at Jeep driving. So, it's one of those situations where you probably feel comfortable because you've done it so many times. This time, though, road was washed out a little bit. It was around sunset. They'd been drinking a little bit. My dad wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And going up a hill, seems like they lost a little traction or hit a washed out area, and the Jeep rolled. My dad was ejected immediately, and he was crushed as the Jeep rolled down and landed in a ravine. And one of the craziest details about the whole thing, I think, is that the Jeep is still there today. It's at the bottom of that ravine. I've been to that location one time, I'll talk about that here in a second, probably in the immediate 24 hours after my dad had died. But it's still there. I think my brother's probably been there a couple of times, but it's obviously it's been a long time, and it's there, rusted out and all that kind of stuff. So I don't tell this story for shock value. I tell it because it's just kind of proof that life can change really, really fast. Like unbelievably fast. One moment someone's here, the next moment they're not. And unless you've lived through something like that, it's hard to explain how permanently your brain separates your life into before and after. And, rewind like a week, maybe a couple of weeks before, I can't remember exactly, the last time I saw my dad alive, which was, turns out to be a really fortunate and lucky event for us. We were celebrating my friend Zach McMillan's bachelor party. A bunch of us had gotten together, my brother included, and Zach and a bunch of guys. We did a Tough Mudder race. My dad showed up. We got him a matching shirt for all of us, and he loved it. So we got to see us do that. Got some really good photos. And again, the last time I saw him alive was a couple of weeks, maybe a month before the Jeep accident. And then we fast forward, and I still remember getting that call from my mom that night. I remember Lindsay calling Tori and Zach to have them come over and stay with Elliot and Brady. We didn't have Gage at the time. And Elliot and Brady were young, right? And so and it was Easter weekend, and we weren't going to take them down to Benson to experience this at that age. And so this all happened on Good Friday weekend in 2013. And one of the memories that sticks with me still is, Tori and Zach walking in, staying there, helping with the boys, while Lindsay and I and Chris and Beth and my mom and everybody down in Benson were trying to just piece together what the hell is the next steps here. And it was such a contradiction. I had work stuff that weekend as well that I couldn't miss. I was at, splitting time in Tucson and Benson at a conference that I was running at the West in La Paloma there. Such a contradiction weekend as well. So we're dealing with this unexpected just gut punch. And then we're getting photos of our kids from Tori, which we loved, Easter egg hunting and doing that whole thing because they were making sure that their world didn't stop up here while ours was completely stopped and wrecked down there. So, and again, this is that weird split where it's before and after, right? Before my dad died and after my dad died. My brother and I, going on like no sleep for like 36 hours, drove out to the site where my dad died. We met the helicopter team that was retrieving my dad's body, gathered some of his personal belongings, stuff like that. We were hours from a paved road. I can still picture this clear as day, watching a body wrapped in, I think it was white. I don't know what it was all wrapped in, but watching a body getting airlifted out of a ravine and knowing, and that moment, like one, that's my dad's body. And two, our lives are never going to be the same after this. And here's the complicated part about grief for me is for a long time, like I was just fucking mad at my dad. I was angry. And honestly, part of me sometimes still is, right? Not because he was a bad dad. He wasn't. Not necessarily because he made decisions that, we haven't made risky decisions before. But just those decisions and mad because, the drinking, maybe the no seatbelt, just the risk. But again, it's not things out of the ordinary that they hadn't done before. But mainly mad because this one bad moment took him from us and it took him from my kids as well. So one of the sadder things for me about this still is that my kids don't remember my dad. And that's hard because he would have loved watching them grow up. He would have loved all the crazy shit that Gage is into all the time, the different hobbies and just how passionate he can get about whatever it is that he's into at the moment. He would have loved watching Elliot and Brady both play basketball and the way that they play, and their games are a little different, but man, they're both exciting to watch. He would have loved Brady's personality and his crazy style. And he would have just, again, loved everything about these kids. But my kids also missed out on knowing my dad the way that we knew him. So I do want my kids to know about him. And one of the things I definitely wanted them to know and that we stress is that my dad loved us a lot. He said, "I love you" very often. And I think it's one of the bigger things that I've carried into being a father myself is in our house, we say, "I love you" constantly. Probably to the point where my kids are like, "All right, dude, we get it." But we say it and they say it back to us. We want them to hear it every day because, one of the lessons losing my dad, life is fragile, man. You never know when that last conversation is going to be. So if I'm mad at my kids for a boneheaded decision that they made, or a way that, they've got a typical teenager attitude that I had as well, I still want them to know that I love them. And honestly, being a dad is hard and as frustrating as it can be. Probably my favorite role that I play in my life. I love being married to Lindsay. And so I think those two things obviously are extremely important to the foundation of my life. But there's just something about being a dad. It's hard. It's exhausting sometimes. There are definitely days that I question whether I'm doing enough or if I'm getting it right. And I beat myself up a lot. But at the same time, it's fulfilling. And again, being married to Lindsay and being a father to our boys, two of the greatest blessings and rewards that I have in my life, and it's not even close. So I think losing my dad when I did probably made me appreciate fatherhood more. I also, want my kids to know that my dad had a pretty good sense of humor, and was had some self-deprecating humor at times, and it was just funny, sometimes. One time at a restaurant, we were eating, I think, at Westgate, and they brought some bread out, and they had those little butter pads, little pads of butter. And my dad thought they were cheese, so he's scarfing them. These are really, really good, like a soft cheese. I'm like, yeah, they're soft cheese butter. And he just he leaned into it, confident, committed. Once he took that bite, no turning back. it was fun. He loved my mom a lot. He worked very hard for my family when we were growing up. He was proud of us, my brother and I. Very, very proud. I think the pictures where we have of my dad that I see him smiling, probably the brightest would be like, him at my college graduation, him at my brother's graduation from the academy. Those kinds of things, just very proud. I remember in high school, I had some event for FBLA, and they invited the parents. So it was probably a state conference for FBLA when I was in it. They invited the parents, and they had a little reserved for father of Ryan Hamilton sign on his chair. And he kept that sign for a long time. Saw it in his room. Which as a dad now, I get it. I totally understand that stuff. At the time, you feel like, maybe kind of embarrassed by, the big deal that parents are making. But no, man, I realize those things mean everything, right? We had season tickets to the Cardinals for a few years together. Right in the middle of that Super Bowl run, by the way, which was amazing. And I can still picture the tailgates, the games, the conversation, just the fun and the mundane, like whatever, like just cool, fun, low key, no pressure stuff that we got to do. And it's funny because when someone dies, you don't miss the giant moments as much. You miss like the routine stuff, like the random phone calls, sending an update on how the kids are doing, hearing what they think about something. And now, 13 years later, I still occasionally have a moment where I'm like, oh, my dad would love to hear this story. Or I should tell my dad that. And then, reality kind of hits again. And people that have lost loved ones like this, the grief never really fully leaves. It's kind of changes shape over the years. Early on, it's pretty sharp, pretty heavy. And then really constant. And then now it just gets a little quieter, maybe less frequent, but it's always there. I mean, it's never going to go anywhere. I still haven't gone back to the place where my dad died. My brother and his friends and some of my dad's friends go out there often. I mean, annually, really. They put a memorial up. It's really, really nice. I've seen pictures. Very, very nice. But I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get myself to go back there. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll take my kids there someday. Maybe not. I don't know. There's no need for me to make a decision like that until I think I'm ready, and maybe I'm never going to be ready. I was there one time, after he died. But I'll tell you this, one thing that I've learned through that experience is say what you feel now. Tell people you love them. Don't assume that you're going to have more time. And that hits a little differently now. My dad was 51 years old when he died. As of this recording, when this episode drops on Father's Day weekend, I'll be turning 45 in a few days. It means I'm a lot closer to my dad's age when he died than I am to being a kid, losing his dad at whatever, or, all those things. I wasn't obviously a kid, but that perspective shift is really heavy sometimes. So it makes me think about what I'm leaving behind for my boys right now. Not someday, not later, not when our life slows down, but now. Am I present enough? Do they know I love them? Am I teaching them the right lessons? Am I creating core memories that they're actually going to carry with them someday, so when Lindsay and I are gone, they have these things to remember us by and to look back on and to think back on? Because at the end of the day, our kids hopefully don't remember most of these things that we stress ourselves out about as parents. Hopefully they remember if we showed up, if we said we loved them, if we were there for the little moments. And losing my dad at 32 years old taught me something that I wish none of us had to learn the hard way. You can't leave anything important left unsaid. Take the trip, go to the game, say you're sorry, tell your kids you're proud of them, tell your spouse you love them, Answer the phone call, or in this case, the text message nowadays, or the snap or whatever. And that goes for you too, kids. Your parents call you, call their asses back. Text them back. You're away at college right now? Send mom and dad a message. They want to hear it all the time. All the time. Make the memory, okay? Because eventually there's a last conversation. There's a last game you're going to see your kid play. There's a last hug that you're going to give. And most of the time, we're not going to know when that's happening. And as a dad now, that reality pushes me harder than anything else in my life. So this Father's Day, I think the biggest thing I want to say is be present. Tell your kids you love them. Call your parents. Share the stories, even the dumb butter stories. Because at one point, memories and these stories, that's all we're going to have left. And that's how we're going to keep these people alive. And that's going to be our job. And Dad, if you can somehow hear this, I'm still a little pissed off sometimes, but mostly I just miss you. All right, probably a good time to end this thing. Oof. Before I completely lose it on my own podcast. So seriously though, hug your people tighter this week. Have a good Father's Day weekend. Thanks for listening to this one. We're back next week with, I don't know what the hell is going on next week. Zach McMillan's coming on the podcast in a couple of weeks. Talk weddings. We'll talk houses. We'll talk all that stuff. But until next time, love you. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one.
This has been the Houses and Spouses podcast with Ryan Hamilton. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. For real estate help or a wedding ceremony crafted with care, connect with Ryan online. See you next week.